Hello, everybody. This week I chose an article called Clinical Research During the COVID-19 Pandemic, Gastroenterology Researcher's Perspective. I chose this because the area I work in is obviously GI, and I'm doing my project over research. And so COVID-19 obviously has had a big impact on everything, as we know. And so research is just another area that has been impacted as well. Like I said, we all know that COVID-19 has had a big impact on everybody's lives, especially those of us that are working in healthcare. Clinical research is just another area that's also felt the effects of that. And this is depending on the disease that's being studied, what all the study entails, even the location can sometimes be impacted as well. It just varies. There's different things. Quarantine, in the beginning, there were the lockdowns, lack of funding, lack of resources. So there's lots of different things that have had a big impact on research. And as I said, the different things like the lockdown, the quarantine, the limited resources, all of these things can deeply impact the studies. Even if they were started, it can halt them, it can delay them, it can cut them short. So just lots of different ways that it has impacted studies and research as well. This article discusses how, although studies can continue, protocols may have to be tweaked, some things may have to be changed, other precautions may have to be added. Safety, that's the biggest thing. And so just depending on what the study is for, what it's about, will depend on how much has to be changed or tweaked as they go. For example, if a facility is requiring COVID testing, this is something that obviously the patients would have to be notified of ahead of time. If they're requiring testing to continue on with the study that's already in place, it's already going, or if they're going to start a new study and they require the testing, it's out of courtesy, it's best that the researchers, the PI, the research nurse have to notify the patient so that they can get tested ahead of time, well in advance. Patient safety, that's the biggest priority, or that should be the biggest priority, whether that be actually providing care, study participation, that should always remain the priority. And so that goes along the lines with making sure that everything's within the protocol. There's no reason that clinical trials for research can't continue. So as long as the proper precautions are being followed, the proper protocols are being followed, there's no reason that they should be totally halted. There's always risk of the loss of potential funding opportunities because of either lack of participation or the lockdowns, quarantine, no resources. That's always a big risk. Our program, our research program in my facility is pretty new. It's just been started just a few months ago, and so kind of bad timing. But this was all in the works way before COVID hit, and so once it did hit, it slowed things down, and even now there's still studies that are being pushed that we're trying to get in the works, but things are a little bit slowed down right now due to limited resources. Mainly is the biggest thing. Um, this article in particular warns of possible low enrollment in different research studies due to COVID, which that is something that our facility has seen. We've got, I think, 3 total studies green lighted right now that are being done in our facility. And it's just trickling, just slowly. We'll have one going through the process this week. A few weeks later, we'll have another one going through. We got green lighted for another study. And so the research nurse has really been trying to hustle and call patients and see if she can recruit some to participate, but we're just waiting on somebody to go. She says as soon as, hopefully, if one bites, several more will follow, but it's a slow process. That's something that our facility is definitely feeling right now. The article I thought was interesting also almost advises against starting any new studies at this time, just because things are kind of up in the air. You don't really know which way it'll go. It could be either really good or really bad, which that was interesting to me because like I just said, there's several studies that are kind of in the works at our facility right now. And so they're, still trying to get things off the ground, kind of keep things going, which is good because it, keeps things flowing. But I thought it was interesting that they are kind of advising to kind of slow it down for right now until things really start to improve. It says if studies are to be continued, it's important to notify the study subjects of any changes, especially those that could impact their care. That's just keeping everybody in the loop. I think that's a common courtesy. I don't necessarily think that should be only because of COVID. I think that that's something that our patients expect. And so that's definitely something that we should make sure that we continue to do. We are a newer research program, like I said. So our recruitment process is a little bit slower. Still trying to figure out the best way besides obviously calling, emailing, trying to figure out a way to get that recruitment really fired up. Right now it's pretty slow, and so it's just kind of a lot of sitting around and waiting, it seems like. And now, especially due to COVID, it seems to have slowed down even more. A suggestion that can allow for research to continue, which was actually really, I guess I really didn't think about it too much, but this is a good point. And it just speaks to where we are right now as far as technology, but it recommends that you utilize some sort of technology like Zoom so that parts of the study can still continue on. You can keep doing it remotely. Currently, that's not really an option at our facility, except for there's a study going on right now, an IBS study, and patients have to log their symptoms. And so every day they have to log these symptoms like in a diary or a log, and that is done through an app on their phone. So I guess that is one way that they're still able to proceed with different parts of the study. So that's pretty neat, and it's not a whole bunch of writing stuff down, so that's more convenient for the patient. And then another thing I thought was, according to this article, you can still do remote consent, remote randomization, and remote data capturing and reporting. All of these things can be done via web-based apps. So like I said, that symptom diary and log, that is something that study subjects for this one study, they can do. But I didn't, the remote consent was kind of interesting to me. That's not something that our facility does, but I guess that is an option that you could do. Scheduled visits for the studies, though, like the pre-screening process, EGD, colonoscopy, IV infusions, those may also be impacted because of the COVID-19. Sometimes, maybe those things can be done in a different setting. As far as our facility, those things have to be done in-house because only certain people are credentialed or certified to do these certain things. And so those have to be done within the facility. So I guess really research programs have to really be flexible right now, even though they are impacted just like every other field or like every other person's life. They just have to be flexible, and it's definitely okay to continue on with these research studies and programs. They just have to remember to be a little bit more flexible. Um, uh, and that's about it. I'm hoping that hopefully COVID will kind of slow down and hopefully won't affect our research program too much. Like I said, it was kind of just bad timing. I mean, the facility kind of implemented this research program, less than a year ago. And so it's all fresh and just in such a weird time. And so hopefully this information was a good takeaway for me, because all of the research information is new to me as far as actually a research program. And so these were all good points, definitely, that I will share with the research nurse who's in charge of all of this. So that's it. Thank you.